there's something very particular about a sense of having a mission, is that, it's almost something has gotten a hold of you.
Yeah.
It's not the other way around. If you have that, I think it's very important to give it life to it. You came here on this earth to fulfill that mission, and if you don't fulfill it, your life's not going to be fulfilled, and it's going to be like almost like a waste of a life, so to speak, or it could feel that way.
So the book outlines 7 steps that help guide you towards your vocational purpose. And I just wanted to start with step 1 and go through them a little bit just to get a taste of what they are. Step 1 sort of outlines finding your vocational purpose through your value system. And I was wondering if you could explain that a little bit and what that means to you.
Absolutely. So everyone kind of function based on a hierarchy of values. So everyone has like different preferences, different likes and dislikes. And what you value the most is basically the things you like the most. And so when you actually kind of go through the list, there's definitely a specific question that's being asked during the steps, which is one of them would be like, when you have extra time, where do you spend it? When you have extra money, where do you spend it as well? And if you can actually kind of look at that in an angle, you're going to start to kind of see that there's like a theme throughout all those questions that kind of reoccur. So let's say if you're like, passionate about photography, the extra time that you have might be, to look at maybe videos about photography or courses. Or you might be like, taking courses or so this is going to be connected to that. Money-wise, it's the same thing. When you have extra money, you can actually spend it, maybe getting new equipment or so on and so forth. So this is kind of, the way it goes. It's like, if you kind of go through the list, and do like an inventory of everything, you're going to start actually to see there's like a theme. There's like, something that comes up
there's
more
patterns.
and more. There's pattern. And so the step 1 is really kind of recognizing those patterns and kind of look. And at the end of all those, questions, you're going to actually see that there's like maybe something, 1 or 2 or 3 things that stands out more.
Yeah, so it's about, it's a little bit about self-analyzation and recognizing maybe even unconscious patterns in your behavior, your interests that you wouldn't have thought about before, that when you actually see them written out, you're like, oh, there's a through line here, of what I'm interested in and what I'm drawn to. Yeah, that's very interesting. Then there's step 2, which is finding your vocational purpose through your significant needs, right? Can you explain that a little bit?
Yes, absolutely. So when you go through the inventory and, on step 1, you have basically things that you're going to come back. It's going to be like a recurring occupation. Basically, those occupations are actually fulfilling certain needs. And I think when you actually kind of see what those needs are, so let's say if you love to learn something, you have maybe like the need of learning, of expanding, of growing. And I think that's a very important need for teachers, for instance. So people would like to actually learn new things. It's connected to that sense of, kind of growing and expanding. So that's a very important need.
Yeah.
Now, if you're an athlete, for instance, and you like to do a certain occupation, could be like boxing or it could be like basketball or anything that's, in that field, you might maybe have a need of competition. You might have a need to compete, to kind of, separate yourself from the pack.
Yeah.
So there's different needs that are being fulfilled in every occupation that you actually involve. And I think it's important to kind of see what they are.
Yeah, and there's a direct correlation between what you value and what you need. And,
Absolutely.
And you can learn a lot about what you need and what even subconsciously you might be looking for based off the things in life that you value the highest.
Yes, and also the good thing about kind of, I would say kind of, bridging the two is to actually kind of get more information about why you're actually attracted to do something.
Right.
So let's say
you can learn a lot about one through the other.
Absolutely. You can, let's say if you're like a counselor, for instance, you love to connect. It's a very important need to connect with people. And I think, that's also, a need that would be fulfilled through being a counselor or talking to people or so on and so forth. So I think it's important to actually bridge both of them so it can actually reinforce, and also you understand more why you're doing something. But you reinforce the idea of, this is really what I love to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think that correlation and kind of, learning about your values from your needs and your needs from your values, I mean, that also ties into the third step. I think, we're talking about values, we're talking about needs, but there's also, the challenges that you face in life. And that's what step 3 is it's finding your vocational purpose based off your life's challenges. And can you touch a little bit on that and how that informs the others?
Yeah, absolutely. When you actually kind of look at, that's another way to actually discover, your vocational purpose, your occupation, is by just looking at the challenge in your life. Because you're going to have certain challenge that actually really speaks to your heart. And sometimes by just, kind of focusing on the challenge that you went through and actually went on the top, actually overcame those challenges. Sometimes it actually kind of create a desire for you to actually kind of help others to actually kind of overcome those challenges. So that could be like an indication also of, a possible occupation for you to kind of, investigate.
Yeah, you can take the learning and the growth that you get from your own challenges and put that out into a way to give back, right? And
Absolutely.
to act in a form of service.
So let's say if you actually have issue in relationships, and always been very challenging for you to kind of create sustainable and fulfilling relationships. You going through the process of learning how to actually kind of create that for yourself. You might also create like the desire to help others.
Right.
And then from that point, you can actually kind of investigate different career and occupation that would actually kind of be able to fulfill that, such as being a counselor or so on and so forth. So I think that's a great step, I think, because everyone's going through challenges in life. And I think if you can look at your own challenges in different areas of your life, you're going to be able to actually kind of pinpoint, something that really speaks to your heart. And I truly believe that's also part of your life theme anyway, because when you actually kind of, go through your life, you're going to have different challenges, and they're all tied up to your life theme.
Yeah, so it's about, taking those life experiences, even the negative ones, and recognizing that there are things to gain from it and things that you can give back from it as well. Those experiences that you're going through are not for nothing. You're growing as a person, but it's also giving you an outlet and the ability to then, try to help others grow and learn from the same things that you've gone through.
Absolutely. And I think, again, just to rephrase that, all experiences are positive in that sense, because, you can turn it to be an experience
right.
that actually is positive. You can help other people than going through the people actually going through the same challenge that you've been going through. And so I think that's kind of it's a very interesting, I would say, step, because it's the one that speaks the most to me, as well as the step 6, which we'll talk, right after. But it's one of the ones that really kind of speaks to me because, I really learn from my challenges, and I really create a desire to help others through my own challenges. So if it speaks loud, it speaks volume to my own life experience. And I think it's, and for a lot of people that I spoke to and that I actually know, they also kind of, in some way, through their challenges, they really created an occupation to help others.
Yeah.
And I was like, the one that really spoke to them.
That brings us to step 4, which is finding your vocational purpose based off people that inspire you. Can you touch a little bit on what that means to you?
Yeah, absolutely. I think, if you look at your life, you're going to always remember the people that actually kind of had impact on your life. And I think it's important to kind of take a little bit of an inventory on that and see what is the person or, that actually inspire you the most, that kind of touch you the most, that actually kind of an impact on your life the most. And then you can ask your question, what is the thing that impacted me? Was it like, the person, the personality? Was it like the charismatic?
What were the qualities that stuck
the quality
with you?
Could have been like, also what they were doing.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to kind of go in that direction because they are in some way the people that actually remind you of who you are. And I think, if you can make an inventory of those people and go deeper and ask questions, what was the thing that, really attracted me? Was it the subject? Was it the person? You can definitely kind of have, I would say like information about your vocational purpose.
Yeah, reflecting on what it was about these people that stuck with you and what you could maybe learn and take from them in a way to grow and hone further in on maybe the parts of them that you want to see in yourself
as well. Absolutely. And I think that's kind of it's a good point. They might not be doing exactly what you want to do, but there's certain element of what they're doing that you like to do, and then emphasize on that.
Absolutely.
So, yes, it's not, so rigid.
So then there's step 5, which is pursuing your vocational purpose based off your talents and your skills and your disposition. Can you touch a little bit about what that is?
Yes, absolutely. So we all have gifts and talents. That's just a given. It's not just, the one person. It's for everyone.
Yeah.
And I think it's important to kind of, also make an inventory on those things. A lot of time we're not aware of those things, but people are aware of those things. Could be a parent, could be like a teacher, could be someone that that have said something about your talent or your gift.
Yeah.
And has recognized it. And I think it's important to also remember that, because then, you can go with that and say, oh, all right, so I'm good with this. I have this talent and I recognize that's been recognized. Where does it fit?
And it can be something small. It's not always
Absolutely.
some huge in-your-face skill or talent that might make you a millionaire. It can be something that's very, very subtle, but something that is very unique to you.
Absolutely. And that could be definitely be an element of your occupation. And I think it could be just as simple as being a good listener.
Yeah.
Or have empathy.
Yeah.
Or someone who can analyze things very easily, or so they have different qualities that you should kind of be aware of, because each occupation has a need for a certain skill, certain talent, certain gift. And so if you actually kind of look at that in that way, you're going to start to see that, oh my God, I'm good doing this, good doing that. People told me I was good with this. So I think it's very important. A lot of time we're not doing that. A lot of time we don't really take in consideration, or we don't even give credit to our talent and gift. And I think that's very important to actually do so in order to kind of go further and kind of in some way perhaps that can guide us towards finding an occupation.
Yeah, I mean, it's a great starting point.
Absolutely.
If I'm good at this thing, how can I utilize that? What can I put this skill towards in a way that's going to help me along my path?
Those gifts and talent can be translated into services as well. And that's very important, because that's the reason why you do have those gifts and talents, is to actually kind of be able to utilize them
to
and
give
put
back.
to put them in into practice, to put them to use. And I think that's very important. And again, once you have a bit more of an idea of what you're good at, you can definitely kind of channel that towards doing something you really love.
Absolutely.
You translate it into a service, and then what occupation can fit that service, or what this service can fit, and so on and so forth.
So then there's step 6, which is finding your vocational purpose based off your dreams, your missions, your projects in life. Can you touch a little bit about what that means to you?
Yes, this is kind of a step that speaks more for people who have a sense of mission. They always felt like, even as a kid, they felt like, they had some kind of a mission to accomplish. They might not always know what it was, but it's kind of something that if you ask questions to yourself, and you maybe kind of go back in your life, see the things that, kind of feels like, that they're very important to me, and it's something that, I feel if I wasn't doing, I would have wasted my life.
Yeah.
So it's very intense. There's something very particular about a sense of having a mission, is that it's almost something has gotten a hold of you.
Yeah.
It's not the other way around. It's something that has
calling
found
you
you.
can't ignore.
It's a calling that you cannot ignore, and something that is there. And again, if you have that, if you're actually kind of reading the steps, and then you're getting to the 6 steps, and then you have something that you always wanted to do, and you feel like that's the sense of mission behind, I think it's very important to give it life to it.
Yeah.
It's very important to actually kind of investigate that and do some research and really do it, because this is not something that came up out of nowhere.
Yeah.
You came here on this earth to fulfill that mission, and if you don't fulfill it, your life's not going to be fulfilled, and it's going to be like almost like a waste of a life, so to speak, or it could feel that way.
You have to feed it and not ignore that calling, and if you have that, it's something that's worth leaning into.
Absolutely.
Absolutely.
I think that's something that's the most fulfilling, when you actually kind of know your mission, or follow your calling, so to speak, and to follow through. I think there's nothing more fulfilling in life than that, because
Absolutely.
you actually in some way are fulfilling an agreement. It's your soul that actually made an agreement before you coming in on earth. And I think that mission is that it's that agreement being fulfilled through action.
Absolutely.
And you have to do it.
So the final step 7, is finding your vocational purpose, field, and occupation, which is kind of what all this has been about. But can you kind of summarize what that might mean?
Yes, so basically the 7th step is a summary of everything that we've done for those 6 steps. So basically in each of those steps, you're going to find occupations or activities that actually kind of more or less are the same. So going at the last step, you're going to basically match that occupation or activity with basically a vocational theme or like purpose, which could be like, science. It could be, it could be different things, but science, let's say, for this one. So that would be one. And then you're going to go deeper, and basically the field would be like education.
Right.
And then the occupation would be like school teacher. So it's kind of a bit of a breakdown, but
it's about practically applying the first 6 steps.
And I think that's important, because it could go all over the place otherwise. And I think it's kind of nice. But again, it's very important to stay, flexible, because those things can change. I think, the vocational theme or the vocational purpose, I think will stay the same more or less. But, the field might kind of change.
Yeah.
And the occupation might change. But I think, if you are like someone who love to teach and love to learn, and that's really kind of part of your I would say your life theme. Change is going to always be there, but it's going to pretty much be expressed maybe in different field or different occupation.
Yeah. Well, again, it's all very malleable, right?
Absolutely.
Like these are all just starting points, places to get you started. It's not necessarily the final answer, if there is such a thing, but it's somewhere that you can begin.
Absolutely. And I think, that's giving a lot of freedom to people as well, because I think a lot of time people are like, oh my God, this is like this for my lifetime, or they don't feel like it's, but it's the first step to get to that place. This is really kind of a place to start in some ways.
Mm-hmm.
But again, it would give you like a very clear idea of what you're here for. And
Yeah.
I think that's the main idea, the main, I would say, purpose of the book is to give you some direction, to remember who you are, and based off of who you are, kind of, bridge it with an occupation that really kind of fits your soul purpose.
Yeah. And to remind you to be thyself.
Absolutely.
Well, guys, thank you for listening. Please keep your eye out for Be Thyself, Serge's new book. It's coming out very soon. If you're interested in the ideas we were talking about today, he goes a lot more in depth in there, and I think there's a lot that you could learn from it. So thank you so much for joining us, and keep an eye out for new videos, for new podcast episodes. And until then, I'll leave it to Serge to sign off.
Well, until then, I invite you to be thyself and to follow your passion and your excitement. And until the next time, I wish you a beautiful life and much love to you. Thank you.